cloning is. Do you know what cloning is? Do you know what it is? Have anyone ever taught you what cloning is?
Well, it's taking a cell, reproducing it, and mimicking a.
Yeah, but do you know how it grows? Let me explain to you.
Okay.
And you go on YouTube and you look at the 60 minutes on the horse. What happens is the polo player comes in with some DNA. That's just all you need is some DNA, and he gives it to the scientist or the doctor, and the doctor injects the DNA with a syringe into a egg.
You see
You
that?
take the syringe, you inject
Fingers.
that DNA in that egg. You take the egg and you go find a womb, a matrix. If it's a female horse, you put.
I want you to pay attention to what she said. A matrix. Okay? A lot of people don't know. This is the lady that came up with the book called, I believe it's called The Third Eye. This was back in like the 70s or 80s, right? So what happened is they actually stole her book. They stole her book. She tried to get her book out there to the dude that made Star Wars. She wanted him to do her book. Back in the day, she was married to a professional football player at that time. She wanted her book to get out there. Now, this is how it works for them on their stuff. Of course, this ain't us. Like, okay, so she puts her book out there. Somebody steals her book. After they steal her book, they make a movie. Not one movie, but two movies. Not one movie, but two movies. Her name is Sophia Stewart. They made two movies off of her, this black lady, right? All right. One of the movies is The Matrix. You heard talking about The Matrix. I just want to throw that out there, you know what I'm saying? So, they took that book, The Third Eye. They took that book and made two different books. They made The Matrix and they made The Terminator off the same book. And what happened was she tried to sue them for it. She said it didn't work. Of course it didn't work. I mean, look at her. Is that going to work? No. Even though she went to school and she was in all those sororities, whatever she had to do, nah, she got robbed at first, right? What happened was she went back and sued again. But matter of fact, before she sued again, she said she had a knock at her door, and it was Arnold Schwarzenegger. Arnold Schwarzenegger knocked at her door, and he came in and offered her $5 million. If you don't believe me, you can go look up Sophia Stewart, the interview about talking about this stuff. Like, this lady know a whole bunch of stuff, man. Even about black people being Indians. She talks about that too. But Schwarzenegger came, he offered her $5 million. 5 million. She was like, no. No way. Because they had made hundreds of millions off of the Matrix and the Terminator. I believe it was just the Terminator at this point. So she goes back a while later. She say she get a call on the phone now. Before she even thinking about suing again, she gets a call on the phone. And the call on the phone say, hey, the next time you gonna win the lawsuit. Go listen to her say it. She say, the call says, next time you gonna win the lawsuit. And at the time, she was thinking, I ain't even finna sue again because I just lost right now. Like, why would I even be thinking about that? Like, I just lost. Like, it's over. Go listen to it. But she ended up getting $1 billion lawsuit. Not a million. I'm talking about billion with the B. Yeah, that's how this stuff works.
The egg to grow inside of the female horse matrix or womb. She's a surrogate. And so the horse grows and come out of her, and he's a full bred clone. It's the same process with the sheep. You take the female sheep, you put that injected DNA in an egg and put it inside of her. You
1996, Dolly. They had one called Dolly in 1996. I remember I was in like the 8th grade, 7th grade, or 6th grade, something up in there. I remember reading the newspaper. I remember seeing it. Dolly was the first one that they actually did that to.
grown up clone. And also with living beings.
Humans,
You take their, that's right, the living human beings, you take their DNA, take the syringe, put it in an egg, put it inside of the woman's womb, because this is why God says all those who open up the matrix are minds, because in the matrix, you are giving a soul, a seed. So when you see seedless grapes and seedless oranges and seedless watermelon, seedless everything, they are GMOs that were created by man, living organisms that were created by man. And that's why they said that they didn't have to grow any more former foods. They need the formers, because they're going to give you these GMOs, genetically modified organisms that have no seed, no soul. They're soulless. And this is what's killing you, because it's not real.
Yes.
Now let's go back to the cloning. The horse is grown in the womb, comes out like a real baby, grows up, but this is the difference. All the clones, there's 100 and some horses, and this is something very important that you need to understand. When it's a copy, because that's what a clone is, a copy of the original source. And all of them, they have different patches on them. They're not identical. They may.
Now, do you remember the movies from the past? It was a movie with Schwarzenegger. He went to go get his dog cloned. His dog had died, right? So he went to go get a clone of his dog made. By the time he got home, it was a clone of him in the house. You know, that's how the entertainment industry throw that stuff in your face.
Have a white patch of the horse on his head. It may have it on its leg. It may have it on its butt. But this is one thing that you know when you see clones. Say it's 10 of the horses. They're all in the field and they're feeding. Well, when one looks over here, all of them look to the right. When one looks to the left, all of them look to the left. When one does something, all of them mimic. And you got to see this, because you're very intelligent.
Is that because the mind of you've split the mind, the original soul's been split?
Well, they have no soul. A clone has no soul. It's
whatever,
a copy.
Whatever the mind works from, in whatever's external to 3D, there must be a link.
The mind is nothing but spirit. Listen, let me break down.
Okay, what's the difference?
Now, I'm pretty sure she's like a real high-level witch. Because her mind, it just works in different ways, you know what I mean? Like, and you don't see her nowhere. You don't hear about her. You know what I mean? Like, a person, a black person that's a billionaire, you would kind of hear about that. But I'm sure she's kind of sold.
God's children.
The difference between spirit and soul.
Let me break down the 3D. Let's go to the reason why.
We're 12-dimensional beings, yeah?
Yeah, well, no, we're 3-dimensional beings, and God's children are 3D. And let me explain why they're 3-dimensional beings. Because the mother eats from the earth, from the dirt of the earth, and it goes inside of her womb. And her womb is water, so we're hybrids. We are of the air, and we are of the water. And we're eating from the dirt of the earth to create our bodies. So when this is at the first 10 weeks, you're nothing but blood, water, and spirit. There's a spirit waiting in the astral form, waiting to occupy that body that the mother is creating.
Yeah.
Now, this is where the abortion becomes illegal, and they don't teach you this.
Yeah, this is very crucial.
Very crucial. Listen to me very carefully. For the first 11 weeks, it's like a period. It's blood, water, and spirit. You can't destroy spirit because it's an astral form. It's a shadow. Like in the Matrix, It's called a virtual image because I introduced the first virtual images to you guys. And so it's a shadow. And you saw their virtual images running up and down the telephone line while their physical bodies were asleep in the ship. Now let's go back to the mother. The astral body is waiting to be born in the body. Now at 12 weeks, the soul comes and attached. Here's the astral body. Here's the physical body that takes 36 weeks and 9 months. And here's the soul that attaches to the body. Now the astral body is there because it's the shadow, the virtue. It's there. It's what you call the mind. It's there. But the soul is the living energy that comes from the source, which is God, which is life. And it attaches to that body. Now that life is in that body now. So when a doctor performing an abortion at 12 weeks, he's killing a living soul. Because life is attached.
And it also damages the soul.
To come out.
It damages the soul when it wants to then try and live again.
Well, he destroyed the soul from coming in to do its job. Because in abortion, you're taking the stem cells from the baby's bodies that you're killing with the abortions, and you're using these stem cells. When a person can use their own stem cells to heal any and everything on their bodies, it's just like you're taking blood from transfusion from somebody else. When God says, no, don't take that blood, because you're going to take on the characteristics of that blood. If that blood is a hemophiliac, if that blood is AIDS in it, if that blood has other deadly diseases or DNA, you have already taken possession of that. When you could store your own blood, because you know you're going to have an operation, put it on there, so whenever it's an emergency, you have your own blood ready to be flown out to wherever you are in an accident. Because this is why God didn't want anyone to eat of the blood, because you take on the characteristic of that blood and whatever it's tainted with. And they just do things lazy. Man is just lazy, and they're liars. They can tell you the truth like I'm telling the truth. Because if they tell you the truth, you can say, you know what, I don't care. I want to do it anyway. Well, fine.
Then
You're responsible.
You've made a decision then.
Yeah, because no one can take your free will. God is upset about man lying and taking your choices, deceiving you into something. And if you knew the truth, you said, oh my God, I could have done something else. I didn't have to do that.
Enough said.